says, I exercise and have a decent diet and still my cycles are weird. Sometimes I'll just have stains, and sometimes it just clots, and sometimes it's normal. Okay, now, yeah, so that's a hormonal imbalance, and that's what gets classified in lean PCOS. These, scanty periods or heavy bleeding or, just stains like you mentioned, could be that your body still has insulin resistance, which means that you may not be overweight, but your fat percentage is high. Now, when we talk about fat, we look at about 18 to 19% for young girls from the age of 14 to 18 age group, and beyond 18, we look at a fat percentage of 22 to 23%. So please get your fat percentage checked and work towards reducing fat. So when it comes to PCOS, like I said earlier, we're not only looking at weight loss, we're looking at fat loss, because we need to break something called insulin resistance, and that will only happen when you're losing fat. If by any chance you're losing your muscles, the insulin resistance is only going to get more activated. It's going to irritate your hormones and cycles even further. So make sure that you check your fat percentage and work on losing fat. Your problem will definitely be sorted once the fat percentage goes down. Okay, what about Tetra Pak milk? Same problem? Well, yes. Okay, again, different school of thoughts. Okay, now region specific, we have various brands. Some brands are adding adulterants to be able to meet their milk supply, because India as a country has been thriving on dairy, and thereby the demand is also more. So there are adulterants that are being added. But you also have access to organic milk these days. So that is something that is very area specific. Locally you'll have to kind of find out what's the best option. Tetra Pak, if you're asking from a shelf life perspective, it is safe from shelf life perspective, because it's pasteurized at a very, very high temperature, and thereby it increases the shelf life. So if your question is to do with shelf life, it's fine. But if it's if your question is to do with adulterant, you'll have to figure out which brand are we talking about, what kind of symptoms are you getting. Yeah. Is A2 milk any better? Yes, A2 milk is better, goes without saying. Now, for people who may not know what is A1 and A2, A1 is the Jersey cow, which is also known as hybrid, and then A2 is your Desi cow. So the Desi milk is obviously better, yeah? But again, so the disclaimer is A2 milk is better when the cow is grass-fed and not hormones injected. So make sure that, so there are also lab tests. In fact, few of my friends actually did this lab test from the place where they were taking milk. They got the milk tested and they kind of realized that the milk was hormone free. So you may want to just form a group, for all the people who are taking milk, and just get this test done. This should clarify your confusion once and for all. Okay, now somebody says, I have milk secretion for last 14 years. My son is 14 years. I have a small size swelling developed near the pituitary. I try not to have milk, but then my calcium is decreasing. Also, I take tea with normal A2 milk. Now this is a question which is talking about different hormones, yeah? So if your son is 14 years and you still have milk secretion, your prolactin levels are all over the place. So please get your prolactin level checked and meet a gynac to, fix your prolactin levels. Like I said, if your calcium levels are decreasing, milk is not the only option. So first of all, whether you take milk or you don't take milk, it is not really related to the milk secretion. Even if you don't take milk, if there is a prolactin level imbalance, your body will still secrete milk. So the two are not related. Number two, if you want to avoid milk for certain reason and still are concerned about calcium, then look at barley seeds, look at sesame seeds, look at leafy vegetables, look at whole grains, and you will be able to get your calcium supply. Yeah, tea with normal milk is absolutely fine. how to take barley water. All right. So there are a couple of ways that people try and take barley water. The one that I always say is soak it overnight, boil it the following morning, and just filter it and have that water. Alternatively, if you're hard pressed for time, you could boil this water in the night and leave it alone. In the morning, just heat it up to a temperature where you would like to drink, and just filter that water and have that water. Yeah, and please don't waste that barley. That barley is as tasty as your rice, so you could just have that barley by making an upma of it, or maybe using it as rice in your lunch. Dairy to be avoided for PCOS or in general. Okay, this is a very, very tricky one. Now, again, like I said, there are two schools of thoughts. Okay, as Indians, we've grown up with dairy, and I don't see any reason for you to be avoiding dairy if it's not adulterated. Yeah, dairy, like we say, milk is a complete meal. It has your vitamin A, D, it has your fat, protein, carbs, everything. So if you have your hands on good dairy, please go ahead and use dairy. Dairy is only to be avoided if you are lactose intolerant. Now these are the fads, and I always end up talking about these fads in all my lives or videos, because some question or the other comes. Avoiding milk is only a must when you have something called lactose intolerance. Yeah, because your body is not able to produce the enzyme which it is supposed to be able to digest your dairy. So that's obviously a time when you're not supposed to have dairy. I don't see any other reason. If you're getting your hands on good dairy, go ahead and use dairy as part of your daily life. And something similar to the gluten thing as well. People start avoiding wheat thinking it's going to help them. If you have celiac, avoid wheat. Otherwise, don't avoid wheat. We've grown up eating wheat. We've grown up eating our, roti, bread, pasta, everything. So make sure that you're going a little versatile, especially when it comes to PCOS. So add a little more grains to it. You could add nachni, you could add ragi, jowar, bajra, all of that. But you don't need to avoid wheat. Okay. Can we substitute fruits with grain breakfast? If yes, how much will be sufficient? Okay, now this is a very interesting question because we're talking about PCOS. Okay, fructose, dextrose, glucose, everything is a form of sugar. Now what happens is when you're having fruits, again there's going to be a sugar spike. Yes, it is fruit, it is natural sugar, but again there's going to be a sugar spike, and which is what we're trying to avoid in PCOS. Please understand, we're dealing with insulin resistance. So if you're dealing with insulin resistance and you're supplying more glucose, it's going to defeat the whole purpose. So a couple of fruits as short snacks through the day is okay, but you can't have fruits as a meal. You need to have a complex meal. So when I say a complex meal, I mean a portion of carbs, a whole, like a whole grain or complex carb, which could be, your poha with vegetables, your upma, your idli with sambar, something which is, whole grain and not processed. With that, you need to have carbs. So you could either look at curd, you could look at egg whites, you could look at a piece of chicken, some kind of beans. So you need to make sure that you're having a wholesome meal. Fruits as a meal when you're dealing with PCOS is not a good idea. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Sufficiency in terms of fruit, about 2 fruits or maybe 3 fruits a day at the max, but divide it through the day. Don't have them all together. One serving of fruit is about 100 grams. So let's say an orange between lunch and breakfast, or an apple one sometime in the evening, early evening. A banana could be a good option if you have PCOS, so somewhere around early evening you could have a banana. Apart from that, if you have a hunger pang, look at nuts and seeds, because nuts and seeds are a much better option than a fruit when it comes to PCOS, because they have essential fatty acids, which is something that you really need to be able to work on your insulin resistance. So look at those and don't look at fruits as an option for your meal. Yeah. Foods to be avoided in PCOS. Okay, foods to be avoided in PCOS, anything which is processed. Let's say your noodles, your pastas, your cocktails, your mocktails, anything that's a pure source of sugar. So learn to read your nutrition labels. I'm going to talk about again, the sugar sources in my next video, so you can refer to that. Also, anything which is overcooked. So for example, a dal which has been boiled and boiled and boiled over and over again. So this is something that you definitely need to avoid. In PCOS, we always advise, we're not saying it's a thumb rule, but we're saying that as much as you can have, go ahead and have fresh food. Also avoid using microwave if you're dealing with PCOS. Apart from food, it is very, very important to totally ban plastic if you're dealing with PCOS or thyroid. Very, very important, be it grade 5 or the best in class, doesn't do any good. So avoid plastic totally if you're dealing with hormonal imbalance like PCOS or thyroid, and make sure that you're avoiding everything which is processed, which is boiled or overcooked or reheated too many times. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Do we need to soak nuts before eating? Yes, it's always a good idea to soak your nuts before eating, for a simple reason that we also have something called tannin or phytonutrients in all our nuts. Now, when we soak them, we're able to get rid of those tannins and those phytonutrients, and thereby the nutrients of the nuts are much better absorbed in our body. So it's always a good idea to soak your nuts. Yeah. Do we have any more questions? Or I just wanted to talk about the mind and body connection before we wait for last couple of questions. Now, PCOS leaves a girl or a woman very, very frustrated because of the set of symptoms that they're dealing with. Yeah, so they're typically dealing with hirsutism, which is facial hair on the chin region or the cheek region. They're having a lot of cystic acne. So one, it causes an issue in terms of your looks. Also, the hormonal imbalance, the fact that your hormones have gone topsy-turvy also causes depression, and your sleep is disturbed. So the moment you start seeing these symptoms, from facial hair to acne, clubbed with irregular periods, or overweight, it's time that you start working on yourself. So like we said, we talked about food, we talked about exercise. What we also need to make sure is that we're doing, we're spending some time on ourselves, and we're making sure that self-care is something that we're working on to keep yourself happy, because the moment you're happy, your hormones become vibrant. You become a vibrant hormone woman, and thereby half of the battle is won right there. So please make sure that you're working on yourself. Yes, it can be depressing at times, it can take time, but you will get there. So don't allow this hormonal game to take over the better of you. Okay, we're just up for next 2 more questions, and this one is, are soaked raisins helpful for improving hemoglobin? Yes, so raisins in general are a good source of iron, and hence it does work to help increase your hemoglobin, gives you good fiber, gives you good vitamins and minerals. So yes, soaked raisins are a good option. If you're only looking at hemoglobin, you can also look at dates, you can also look at something called garden cress seed or the flaxseed. I'm going to talk about it in the next video, so watch out for that next video. For now, yes, soaked raisins are a good option. All my hormone reports are fine, ultrasound also normal, but I'm facing cystic acne and hair fall. What can I do for that? My weight is at 55 kg high. Okay. I may not want to take up the very individual height and weight in this video, but if you're saying that your reports are normal and your cycles are normal, but you're facing cystic acne, you may want to just look at the intake. Yeah, are you dehydrated? Are you drinking enough water? Is there enough selenium, zinc and chromium in your diet? Make sure that you're getting enough dosage of selenium, zinc and chromium in your diet. Are you taking antioxidants? Is there alcohol in your diet? Is there processed food in your diet? Is your sleep pattern regular? Look at all those things. If you are answering even 3 of these as no, then once you fix that, your problem will be fixed. Yeah, I have a note, I have a post on hair fall which talks about hair fall as, as a standalone thing, which is a condition where you may not have a hormonal imbalance, but you're losing hair. Please go ahead and read that. Also, you may just want to check on your androgens. You may just want to check your testosterone levels once. Yeah, I hope that answers your questions. So I'm going to wind up with that question. I hope I've been able to create awareness of PCOS and have been able to help people to deal with it. If you have any more questions, you can get in touch with me. Also remember, PCOS is not a disease, it's just a set of symptoms. By working on your lifestyle, on your food pattern, you can definitely reverse it. Your cycles will become regular, you'll be able to conceive, you'll be able to lose weight. And yes, please don't believe this myth that because you have PCOS you cannot lose weight. You definitely can lose weight, and once you lose weight you can also correct your condition. Yeah, thank you. Watch this space till we go live again. Take care. Bye bye.